Hey guys, welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And on today's episode, we're going to be going over It Follows.
Yes, 2014's It Follows. Directed by Michigan's very own David Robert Mitchell.
I'm pretty sure it was shot in Michigan, too.
It was.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He kept it local to his area.
Yeah.
So this movie is... How would you categorize this one?
I would categorize it as horror's take on safe sex.
Interesting sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it is a paranormal sexually transmitted disease to where if you have it, the only way to pass it is to have sex with someone else.
Correct.
But if they die from the thing that follows, you then are being followed by it again.
Yeah, it's a flawed process. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's how it works, yeah.
So you got a young girl who's still in school. Seems like dating what she believes is a 21-year-old. And he passes it on to her, unbeknownst to her, after they do the good. He then chloroforms her.
Yes.
And then ties her to a wheelchair in an empty parking garage and tries his best to say, I'm not a bad person, but here's what's going on.
Yeah, at least he gives her the rundown of what's happening and how to avoid dying, pretty much.
Yeah, because it would suck if she died for him, because then it's back after him.
Yeah.
Do you think the person that gave it to him, told him about it? Because
No.
he kind of says that he thinks he got it from a one-night stand at a bar.
I feel like the person who gave it to him maybe could have warned him, because how else would he know?
Yeah.
Unless he just put two and two together.
And when they go to his house, they see that he has been kind of obsessed with it in a sense.
I'm not sure that was even his house.
That wasn't even his house?
Well, no. I think the first house they went to was probably just an address he gave them.
But he had to have been staying there while he was trying to hook up with the girl.
Yeah.
For however long that was.
All these abandoned Detroit houses. Yeah, he probably just took some house, took her to it. She thought nothing of it.
Yeah, what about the things dangling in the window as warning signs because he was being followed?
How long was he there?
I don't know. Then you find the book with this picture in it. He'd been there for a little bit.
Oh, that's weird. So maybe under that pretense, he got it who knows how long ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he had been...
And has been just passing it to everybody.
But they
just keep dying.
Yeah. And then the first technical kill you get is this girl who's in the middle of a street. Everybody's asking if she's okay. She won't answer. She looks very scared, runs inside, grabs her keys, drives to a beach, sits there, calls her dad, says, I'm a horrible daughter. Next scene, you got Mew just beat up, broken up, dead body.
Yeah. The only way to live is horror movies 101. Do not have sex.
It does seem like they were trying to go with an interesting, trope story.
Yeah, which I couldn't tell if it was a trope story or a PSA on STDs.
Oh, so some deeper meaning.
Yeah.
And watch who you have sex with.
Yeah.
My question is, if they wore a condom, would it still be passed as easily?
I would say possibly, because it's still technically having sex. To me, it seemed like...
It's just the act of?
Yeah, it's almost like a PSA to watch you have sex with, because you could get something you may keep forever, or
it could
pass to someone else.
Yeah, and it could ultimately kill you.
Which could kill both of you. In the end.
So it's deep.
Deep.
There was some deep meaning to this movie.
Yeah. At least that's how I took it. I was just overthinking the entire process.
Well, when you watch this movie for the first time, it has its own vibe. It's in its own little category.
Yeah, so this is my third time watching this movie.
This is my second.
First time, loved it.
Yep.
Second time, Okay, well, there's some flaws.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat right now as we sit here.
And then I watched it again.
Yeah, not feeling it at all.
No.
Potholes as big as the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I wanted to ask you, while you're watching this movie, the thing that follows the person is a random person, what seems like at first, and then it just walks. It's very creepy, very eerie, but it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to survive, per se. Because, like, the girl, there's a scene where she's sitting in a classroom. She looks outside of a window, nods to how many movies.
Yeah.
But this old lady's walking through in a gown, like a hospital gown.
Yeah.
And she walks right in between a couple who's sitting there talking, and they don't react.
Nothing.
And you've already been warned something's going to be following you, and he shows this naked girl like walking up to where he had her tied up.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to murk a lot sooner than she did.
She always
seemed to kind of like wait till the last minute.
Yeah, it goes with the tropes almost to where, like, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, who don't run, they just walk, and will eventually catch up to you.
Oh yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah.
Except they can morph into other people.
It follows.
Yeah.
How would you have gone about surviving this movie?
Just not have sex ever.
No, like, all right, say you unfortunately got the it follows cursed disease. What do you think your going about would be to survive?
Well, one, be aware of your surroundings.
Yep.
At all times.
Yeah. Did you catch when the guy says in the in that scene where she's tied up, he goes, never go into a room with only one exit?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So in the scene where he's giving her the rundown almost, he's like, look, never go into an area where there's only one exit, which she obviously didn't listen to.
No. Well,
so would you utilize that?
Yeah. If I had known that at that time, then definitely would utilize that. So being aware at all times, multiple exits to know about them. And I feel like just, unfortunately, the last part would probably be not to share this information with anybody else.
You wouldn't have like a posse of go-tos?
No, I would just,
Not even me, bud?
I would just sleep with as many people as I could to multiply my chances of survival. Because if you notice, sleep with someone, but if they die,
it's right back after you.
It comes after you.
Almost, it seems like it's worse. Like, it seems like it gets, like, more personal as time goes on.
Yeah.
And after attempts of getting rid of it.
Yeah, it's like it's getting irritated with you now.
Yeah, because it wants you dead.
Yeah, so now it's going to get people. It tried her friend. Later on in the movie, it was her father.
Yeah.
And the naked dude on top of the roof. I
think that was her dad.
Well, I think the dude in the pool was her dad.
But not the guy on top of the roof?
He was her grandfather.
Oh.
Just based on...
Oh, yeah, he did look a lot older.
Just based on different pictures you see throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah, in the background. Yeah.
I just assume older guy on top of her house. Probably grandfather.
So would you, like, try flying to a different country? Would you try boarding up your house even beyond, like, what you see throughout the movie? Like, is there anything specific other than, trying to have sex with as many people, keeping your circle, you wouldn't even have one? Like, do you think distance? Because at one point in the movie, they make it seem like distance would help, but it doesn't seem to really.
Yeah, distance.
Because it follows. It's just a walking entity that's after you. It's like if you see it, and you're like, there it is. And then you hop on a plane and fly to, Peru.
Yeah.
Do you think that buys you like a day?
I don't think it buys you any time. I feel like you'll be in Peru, and you'll just see someone walking towards you, and you'll know that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it doesn't buy you any time because you'll know the origin of where it starts at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it start across the street? Does it start next to you? Does it start 2 neighborhoods away? You don't know how long they're walking for when you first see them.
Yeah, and it almost seems like they just appear.
Yeah.
Because like the old lady scene, she like looks out the window, nothing's there.
Yeah.
Then she looks again.
She's there.
And she's walking towards her.
Yeah, which gave me super like Halloween vibes.
No.
Her in the classroom looking out.
Not Halloween. Oh, I guess. Yeah, they do it in Halloween. Lord.
Yeah.
You're right. All right. Which is, I think that's kind of the annoying thing with this movie. Like, overall, it is a good movie. Like we said, the first time we watched it, it was like, holy shit, this is next level. Obviously, being nerds, we no longer sit to enjoy movies. We sit to just rip apart. And it comes naturally and unnaturally sometimes when you're sitting there and, you've already seen it. So those surprises with this person dying or this person doing this or this person appearing goes away.
Yeah.
So I think that makes this movie very irritating because it's like you can't come up with a good plan. You can't figure out a way to try to, like, even if you've seen it, like, coach them to survive. Because in like most jump scare horror movies, you can be like, oh no, like, don't go near the closet. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, this one is just like, it's so frustrating because the person that has it and the person that has had it are the only people that can see these entities. So it's just like everybody thinks you're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And then, you're screaming and crying all the time. Yeah. It just makes it very weird, which I think makes it enjoyable the first time you watch it.
Yeah.
But
the only one scene where people can buy into is they're on the beach.
Oh,
and it
the
pulls
lakeside,
the hair up.
Yeah.
Everyone can see that.
But it made sense, but it didn't make sense. Because, like, the way they shot that scene, I guess they were really shooting it from you being in the perspective of her friends group.
Yeah.
Because, like, you see the entity walking up. It's one of her friends, but her friend's in the lake on a floaty. And then it's yoking her up by her hair. And then one of my favorite parts, one of the friends tries to hit it with a chair, and he just gets smacked like 10 feet.
Yeah, which, like I said, doesn't make sense because if you're seeing it from the friend standpoint, you wouldn't see them walking up in the first place. Mm-mm. So it's kind of like you're seeing it from just...
It just like switches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From just the audience view.
Yeah, it really does. It switches really quickly from audience to you're in the friend group. You can't see anything. Which... seems like kind of a waste. Like, you could have just had the actor or actress doing that scene instead of the invisibleness.
It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Because we have to know what's going on. Because if we...
yeah, it becomes... Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because if we don't ever see, we just see the hair going on. Okay, well, what is that? I mean, you would know it's the spirit or whatever, but it's like at the same time, how long were they there?
Yeah.
Where were they coming from? What do they look like now?
How did you feel about, like, so in that same lakeside scene, they kind of run into this like shed, and whatever it is trying to break in, but she kind of goes out the door with a gun and shoots it in the neck, and it falls. Like, it looks like it got hurt, but then it just gets right back up. Why do that? Why give it that human aspect, but then it's not injured at all, it's not slowed down at all?
Well, it's just like any horror villain.
Yeah, but the horror villains, at least you kind of like assume are like some form of a humanoid. This you don't.
Well, its physical form is a human, so it had to have some type of reaction to it. Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be weird if he just shot it, just kept walking.
No.
It's a human still. At least to your eyes.
Yeah. To one person's eye.
Yeah, to one person's eye, it's still a human. So it'd have to react in some kind of way.
Yeah.
It can't just take that shot and keep walking. It's got to do something. It's got to react in some way.
Yeah, right. As the actor's like, they kind of hurt. There's really no kills to get into in this episode.
Well, yeah, when you got 2 kills.
2.
Yeah.
Well, 1 on screen, 1 off screen. And we've already talked about the off screen kill. The girl at the beach.
Yeah. So I don't know what this thing does when it gets close enough to you.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning scene, it just dismembers you almost.
Yeah, it broke. The leg was facing the wrong way. Bone was all sticking out.
Yeah. And the other foot, the foot was gone altogether.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oof.
But in the other kill.
Yeah. So the main character girl, decides to pass it along to one of the friends who are in the group. And they see, like, it passes. They're like, he's not seeing anything. And then she's looking out the window. He kind of lives across the street. And then she sees him walking towards his house in long johns. Mm-hmm. Or, like, pajama looking set.
Yeah, long johns, yeah.
Long johns. And he's, like, trying to get in. Breaks the window, goes in. And she's like, that doesn't look right. So she runs over there.
Jumps through his window.
She follows suit, jumps through the window too, goes upstairs, and this is a weird scene, guys. So you got a single boob out mom,
which is a common thread, by the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of singular boobies, but it's his mom in her nights with her boob out, knocking on his door. She runs upstairs and is like, "Don't open the door." Well, he opens the door and is like, "Mom, what the hell do you want?" Then she leaps into the room on top of him and then proceeds to humping the life out of her son, which, it's a ghost or the entity, but weird scene. Why decide to go with that type of kill in that dynamic in that instance when you haven't seen another kill or the way this thing kills the entire, like, why is that the way you go with it? It was gross.
Yeah, it was very gross.
Like, coming from a guy that loves seeing people get dismembered on TV.
Yeah.
Dude, there are lines. And your mom humping you to death?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was a very bad kill. Very awkward. And just on the last episode on Bad Candy, we had the necrophilia. It's like, dude.
It's a common thread now.
Dude, I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be a common thread on the J Squared Horror Podcast.
So here's the thing. It wasn't a bad kill.
No.
Because if it was just like another woman he has seen who pounced on him like that, the kill would still be fine, I feel like.
It's the dynamic of the kill.
It's just the fact that it's his mom.
Yeah.
With one boob hanging out.
Yeah. It's like he turns like gray.
Yeah. She's sucked the life right out of him.
Humped the life right on out of her baby boy.
Good thing she humped rather than sucked his
Dude, I would have turned the movie off if it was just some slobby-nobby going on. Some gay slobby-nobby going on. What's that noise? That's a Rutro Ruby-Doo.
Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, so just 2 kills. One weird, one don't really see.
And it's not saying that all horror movies have to have 77 kills in it, because there are plenty of movies out there that don't have a bunch of kills. Like a lot of the Exorcist movies, or like, any type of possession movies don't have a lot of kills in them.
Yeah.
Just the brutality in the whole situation and like the ghosts and what you see and what you don't see. But this movie didn't quite grasp any of that. Like, don't get me wrong. For a first-time viewer, somebody that's not used to horror films, this movie can be very scary.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got a beautiful score that plays very well into this whole entities coming in. Like, there's a scene where the girl's locked upstairs in a room after she thinks that she's getting followed, or she doesn't think she's getting followed.
Yeah.
But all of her friends and family are trying to get in. Well, they let 2 of them in, but there's still another sister out there. She knocks on the door and she's like, "Don't let her in. There's something out there." Then they let her in, but as soon as they let her in, there's this like 12-foot giant dude who like has like blacked out eyes, and like the makeup probably is corny, like once you rewatch it. But like just as soon as that happens, the score kicks on. It's like this eerie music. He like bends down through the archway and comes in. I had goosebumps.
It was crazy.
and I've seen it.
Yeah, like you said before, like he's moving slowly.
He's moving slow, but it's fast,
super quick.
Yeah, like it's not like a run. It's not a push, but like the way this actor portrays that movement is really creepy.
I think it's once he swings his head under the doorway.
It's like the swoop and stand.
Yeah, he's coming through the door.
Yeah,
he's coming for you.
It was very. Yeah, it was an eerie scene.
Yeah, there are certain parts of the movie that are very pleasing to the eyes.
I have no complaints about really the cinematography, the makeup, the effects. You know, even that hair pulling scene was done very well.
It was good, yeah.
But the thing, it never like really seems to grab on to its identity. Does that make sense?
What do you think identity is?
Like the identity of the movie. Is it a paranormal movie?
Yeah,
or is it a, you know, well, of course it's a paranormal movie. What am I, Josh? What are you trying to say here, buddy? Like the type of scares, the type of kills. There's no real consistency throughout because there's just not enough big things happening in it.
Which is why I feel like it's just a PSA for safe sex.
Yeah.
It's telling you, hey, man, like I said before, be careful who you sleep with. You could get something or pass on to someone something that they can't get rid of.
Yeah.
Only way out is death.
Yeah. I mean, you're right.
Yeah. So be careful, guys.
Yeah, be careful out there. You're hoeing it around. No judgment. Do what you want. But after this movie, you might think twice.
Yeah.
About who you decide to bump uglies with. Excuse me. Any particular parts that stood out as super cool to you?
Besides the tall man coming through the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
No. Well, no. I'll take that back. So the ending scenes when they're in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Something about them throwing that sheet over and finding the outline of the body.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, that pool scene. Yeah.
It wasn't the most well thought out plan.
Yeah, you got a bunch of kids deciding that they're going to try to trick the ghost and get into the pool, and they're going to shock it with a bunch of electrical equipment, including a typewriter.
Yeah, the typewriter.
The typewriter cracked me up.
A typewriter?
Because then you see the typewriter get thrown into the pool later. I'm like, the typewriter seems to be a main point.
I didn't know you had to plug in typewriters.
I didn't either. I thought they were powerless.
I did too.
Well, correct us if we're wrong, guys. Do typewriters use power?
Well, no. This particular type of typewriter look like it's just the old school. Yeah. You just hit the buttons and the ink just prints out on the paper.
Wasn't that the whole idea in a typewriter originally?
So why would you? Well, I know. I want to say in the 70s, maybe 80s, there were the plug-in typewriters. I feel like
maybe that was the one they had, but it didn't look like it.
But it didn't. But in 2014. Why would you have one of those?
Yeah, because it was like a current movie. It wasn't like
and if it's so rare, why would you bring it to throw into a pool?
And also, like,
wouldn't.
We saw them walking in. They weren't carrying all that equipment.
They weren't carrying anything.
They weren't carrying anything. Next thing you know, they're just unloading bags and bags of equipment, irons.
Unless it was already there.
Lamps.
Yeah. And the ghost, he had, like, prime Peyton Manning accuracy.
Oh, my gosh. Aaron Rodgers
He was just... Writing the numbers.
Yeah, every time. Every time. He only missed like the typewriter. Like, it was a little too big for him. Yeah. She got hit in the head by an iron, a lamp, probably like a waffle maker. Some of the scenes, some of that was cool. And then you had they think that they can do the zombie headshot technique on an entity. It slowed it down, but then the pool fills with blood,
which made no sense to me.
Yeah, whatever.
Because if the entity is filled with blood, wouldn't you see it?
The entity?
Yeah.
In there with the blood?
Yeah, because how can it be like invisible to you?
Because she was looking in the pool,
but
at the blood, but it was just blood. I don't know, dude. I really don't.
I mean, I guess it's a possibility. I mean, if she can see their body, I guess you see their blood inside the body.
Maybe you just like hurt that one like instance of the entity, and it's just got to regroup and like figure out who wants to be next.
Yeah, that could be. Okay.
Yeah, and then so there's an awkward dynamic throughout the film with the friend and the main girl, Paul.
Yeah. He is weird.
He's a weird friend. Keeps trying to stay the night, get real close to her. At one part, he's like, "Look, girl, let me just take it from you and take it from you." So they end up hooking up. So she had already passed it a couple of times. A couple guys on a boat. The other guy we already talked about. Mm-hmm. She finally decides to sleep with the guy. He then decides, I have a great idea. I'm going to roll into the 8 Mile, beyond the 8 Mile in Detroit, Michigan.
Shout out to Eminem.
Shout out. And sleep with a hooker. Prostitute. Which, in theory, if it was like a busy corner, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because you would have passed it immediately.
But this one was standing alone with another prostitute. Didn't look like that was the busiest corner in the world.
No.
And so it cuts to them holding hands, walking down the street. Not the prostitute and him, but the main characters. And what's behind them? What seems like the It following them.
Yeah, because you first see the scene. There's no one behind them.
Yep.
Next thing you know, a guy just appears.
Walking at that pace. They had like a pace throughout the whole movie that they would walk. Yeah. And he seemed to be at that pace.
Yeah, just the slowest pace possible. So not walking enough to, if you're continuously walking, to ever catch up with you. Probably ever. Mm-mm. But just fast enough to where if you were to turn around, you would notice them.
Yeah. And if you kept turning around, they would keep gaining because they stay at a constant speed.
Yeah. And you would know they're not walking just to walk. They're coming after you.
Yeah. It's a very mission-based walk.
It is,
Like when you're at the store and you know which aisle you need to go to, and nothing's going to stop you from getting that.
That's exactly what that was.
You know those Reese Puffs on that night? It's like, that's your mission. You're going to get it. Nothing's going to stop you. So that's pretty much the basis of the whole movie.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I've been waiting to hear this.
All right.
On a scale from 1 to 10,
mm-hmm.
What do you give It Follows?
On a scale from 1 to 10, 2014's It Follows is going to receive a 4.5.
You guys hear that?
4.5.
It's the exact same rating as last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you feel like it's just below average?
Correct.
Okay.
So now, I'll say that, but also, so the first time I saw it, I thought it was like a strong 8.5, if not 9.
Yeah.
Second time, like a 6.
Yeah.
This most recent time, 4.5.
Yeah, I'd say for this, what we just watched, what we do here, a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I give it a 5.
So right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Okay.
But when I first watched it, like you said, 8.5, 9. I'd have to go back to that exact moment when I was watching it to give you like the exact. But I feel, because even going into it, I was like, man, I think this is gonna be like a 6 or 7, like maybe even an 8. But there's just, like Jake mentioned this, so I'm gonna mention it real quickly. If there was an origins, something to explain the It Follows a little bit more. If they ever did like a prequel, that'd be dope. But it's just, there's just not enough reasoning behind it to get you kind of invested. Like, yeah, you care about the characters and you kind of care about their story because she's just like such an innocent, cute girl. Yeah. Everybody's so sweet and nice. Even the guy, even though how horrible he was and what he did to her. Still, like, once you hear about it and see what it's done to him, they do build the relationships throughout the movie well. But there's just not enough about the main problem for us to understand.
Yeah. And to be clear, so not a sequel.
A prequel.
I don't need an It Follows 2.
No, we need
need that.
We need an It Follows the origins.
Yeah, I need an origin story.
So we got a 4 and a 5?
4.5.
4.5 and a 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not a bad movie. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's on Netflix. You can watch it for free. Yeah. this was a fan request. We actually had a battle on Instagram for we put It Follows up against Final Destination 2.
I was hoping Final Destination 2 would win.
The fans had spoken, and we had to honor this, and we did It Follows. Next, hopefully in an episode soon, we'll do Final Destination 2, which will be coming up.
Which is a superior movie, by the way.
It is. Well, we'll see when we watch it. We might rewatch it and hate it.
I will not.
Yeah, okay. So it's this guy over there. We appreciate you guys chiming in. That was awesome to have some feedback. We had 2 requests that we put right up to the fans to decide what our next episode was going to be. And in order to do that, check out our Instagram. It's J Squared Horror Podcast. In our Instagram, there's a link tree. All of our links are in the bio. We do release new content every single Thursday. So just listen in around then. Check out the Instagram. Like, subscribe, share if you feel like it. Comment movie ideas or episode ideas, or just talk shit to us. We would love to talk shit back. We want all the feedback we can get.
Yes, we do.
A big shout out to Jeff Bridges, who did our design work. As you can see, we are kind of decked out in the Dre Scared Horror merch with this amazing sign behind us that was donated by a fan, Cindy. The intro and outro music, even though it's the same song, we just kind of dice it up, is done by Lucky Riggs, another local artist.
Yeah. And also shout out to Jeff Balance.
Always. Jeff Bridges, man. Did I say Jeff Bridges this time?
You did.
Oh, my God. Jeff Balance. Sorry,
so we switched it up. Jeff, I got you, man. Jeff Balance, I got you.
Did I just ride with the Jeff Bridges? Awesome.
You did.
Check that out. Big shout out to Jeff Balance for the design work. As you see, we're obsessed with it. Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. This is the J Squared Horror Podcast, and I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
Thank you, guys.